Hello, and this is time for a very serious video. What we have here is some really dangerous assault gas masks taken off of the street. So what we're going to do is show you some of the models criminal gangs are using. Remember, there is no excuse to own a gas mask. Don't be a hater, bin that respirator. So what we are going to do is have a look at some of these deadly masks. Obviously I have my Kevlar vest on as a precaution because you never know what might happen if you're handling one of these deadly assault masks. So really we need to go over what sort of stuff is on the streets. Remember, it might not just be these masks, there might be others. We'll go over some of the features that make them so attractive for gangland violence. So we'll start off with this one. This is perhaps the most common one you see on the streets. It is very dangerous. So it comes in this unassuming brown canvas bag, and this is known as the GP5. Now, we believe this mask is widely distributed by Russian hackers and Vladimir Putin himself, and it's a really dangerous, nasty mask. So there's several things of this. So we believe it's white because it's meant to look like the Ku Klux Klan hood. We believe it's a very racist mask, although there is a black variant as well, but we haven't quite figured out yet why they made it in two colours. So obviously it's a hood. Now, a gangland criminal could put this on to hide their identity and you wouldn't know who it was. But there's other very dangerous features about this mask. Now, one is an unassuming person might put this on, not take the plug out of the filter, and then they might suffocate. So there's that. Now, what we have in here, and this is probably the most horrifying part of this mask, is the deadly assault asbestos filter. So this looks like this unassuming green canister. Now, this has several uses. A common use is to hit people with it. Obviously, this would do a lot of damage. If somebody hit you with this, it's a dangerous weapon. These need to be off of the streets. Now, as said, these can be used as well to suffocate people. If it's put on and this plug is left at the bottom, you will suffocate. But even more dangerous, it contains Russian Novichok asbestos. This is really sinister stuff. This is used to poison people. We believe Novichok now comes in an asbestos type dust powder. If you inhale it, it will cause respiratory diseases and illness, and maybe it will give you nerve agent poisoning, because this is of course Novichok nerve agent asbestos contained in this filter. Now, as said, this particular filter was made in 1984, but we believe that the Soviet Union, using very clever psychological warfare and sort of pre-planning, knew that the Soviet Union was collapsed, so their plan was to flood these masks into Europe and America once the Cold War ended, to be used as a sort of weapon. So again, don't be a hater, bin this respirator. You do not want to have anything to do with these dangerous GP5 assault masks. We think the GP might stand for Gopnik 5 because we believe they are a hardened criminal gang in Russia. Sometimes these come with anti-fog lens inserts which we use to gouge out people's eyes. Very nasty stuff. So obviously do not buy one of these masks. It contains the charcoal asbestos Novichok inside. So yeah, do not have anything to do with these masks. Only a criminal would want a mask like this. Right, now to look at another very dangerous mask. These are a more professional criminal mask turning up on the streets, and this is the Scott GSR. We believe GSR probably stands for something nasty as well. Probably something like gross sexual rape or something like that. It's a very, very hideous mask. Anyway, I'll put the satchel on and demonstrate how the gangsters wear it. So they wear it in front of them like that. Then they open up this bag, and they've got their deadly assault mask. Now, you'll notice this one is actually in black, and the reason for that is obviously all scary weapons come in black. If it had wood furniture on, we'd be less worried by this, but this obviously comes in assault black. Now, there's several things that make this mask very dangerous. One, it's very heavy compared to lots of respirators, so we believe that's used for bludgeoning people or headbutting them. When you have this on, you'd headbutt. Now, that might damage the mask, so in a normal scenario you wouldn't headbutt with it. However, it's quite heavy. Now, it also has an assault drinking tube here that hides away in here. It's a concealed weapon, and we believe this is shoved into a victim's body to drink their blood. It's probably also used by vampires then, this mask. Now, one of the most scary features of this is the filters for this mask come with what's called a bayonet filter, and we believe this is used to stab people. We believe it's held in the hand like this and it's stabbed into you like that. Maybe used to gouge out eyes. Now obviously it should go without saying, get a life, bin that knife. This is obviously a hidden blade right here, a bayonet filter. It's disgusting how people think of hiding these weapons. As I said, bayonet, obviously very nasty, knife. This one hidden so that it can be concealed on the mask like that when not in use. Then the wearer can twist it, take it out and stab somebody at very short notice. So obviously that is another thing we need to be really worried about with these masks, that obviously there's hidden weapons inside these as well. So as I said, the Scott GSR, definitely grievous sexual rape or something like that it must stand for, because obviously it's a very dangerous mask. So be on the lookout for this one, because obviously compared to the GP5 this is a much more upmarket and dangerous model. However, it's still obviously a criminal respirator. Now this is probably the most frightening of all the masks. This one is called the S10. Now we expect the S in S10 stands for something nasty, so obviously be prepared for that, but we haven't figured out yet what it is. So this is your S10. Now it comes with a couple of accessories as well that make it all the more frightening, so we'll go into those in a moment. But here is your actual S10 now. This one has the very scary red outserts on. We haven't figured out what they're for, but we think it might be so that you can see in the dark if you're committing crimes better. Obviously it's very intimidating looking at a mask like that. A criminal will find it much more easy to rob people or commit crimes if they have this mask on. Now you also get ballistic outserts for lots of masks like this. Obviously, as the name ballistic outsert implies, it is for throwing at people, or we believe some masks may have a function to launch these outserts at high speed, obviously used to commit injury and death. So obviously you have no reason to have ballistic outserts at all, just like you have no reasons to own one of these masks. The ballistic outserts are obviously used for throwing or, you know, committing other crimes at a range. So that's that. This one also has a hidden drinking tube in it used for hurting people, but there are some other features to this mask in the bag that I'll show you, the sort of gangland accessories these often come with. So another thing is a deadly assault filter. Now this one is in metal, but there are plastic versions of this filter. Obviously the plastic versions of the filter can get through metal detectors, so that's very worrying. Somebody could have the filter hidden on their person, walk through a metal detector, pull it out and start hitting people. Now this one's an assault chromium filter. This one doesn't contain assault asbestos, it contains assault chromium, which is also bad. Probably not as bad as the asbestos ones, but if you were hit with either of them, I ask you, would you like it? Probably not. Okay, so what else have we got in this bag? We have the balaclava that comes with a mask, probably for committing horrible crimes with. As you can see, a criminal would put this on their head, if I can figure out how to put it on, because obviously I'm not a trained criminal. But you'd probably put it on like that, and obviously this would be used for no good if you had this on. Why would you ever want something like this? Probably for committing horrible, horrible crimes. So, as you can see, there's this, so be on the lookout. Somebody might disguise the fact they have a respirator on by wearing one of these respirator sort of cover things on it. Very, very scary respirator balaclava. And last but not least, we should have another accessory in here. Yep, we have this. Now, we believe this clips onto the side of the mask as a microphone, so criminals can talk to each other over their criminal radios. However, this can also be detached from the mask and used as a flail. Look at that. Imagine somebody hitting you with that, or they could whip you with this side. Many good men have been killed by these microphones when they are hit with them at high speed, used to bludgeon in the skull. There may also be other strange uses for this. So what I've done now I've shown you all of the assault gas masks, or some of the assault gas masks we see on the streets. I'm going to tell you some of the other reasons why you should not own an assault gas mask. So one of the main reasons is for sexual fetish reasons. Some people are really into these things, but as you know, the Conservative government has done a very good job trying to ban people from looking at pornography, and including certain sex acts, because only politicians are allowed to do depraved things. So obviously you have no purpose yourself if you're into that thing, you know, being into that. So if you're into that, you should probably see your doctor to think about chemical castration to stop you doing anything nasty to people. Another reason is if the police want to use tear gas against you, they're perfectly entitled to. Now, some people may say tear gas is actually banned as a chemical weapon for military use, but that's okay because the police are still allowed to use it. So, if a police officer was to attack you with tear gas, try to arrest you using tear gas, using a mask would be resisting that. So obviously, that is it goes without saying that's totally forbidden and not allowed. You should never be allowed to protect your respiratory system. That goes especially for people with asthma or other breathing difficulties. If you have those breathing difficulties, it makes the CS gas even more effective at incapacitating you. So obviously if a policeman uses it on you, you're increasing the budget for CS. If you put your respirator on, you should die quietly in the corner really and choke to death. So there's some of the reasons. Another reason is if you get into respirators, you may do some research on how some of the filters work and about certain chemical agents. Now personally I think the only reason you have a respirator is if you're going to commit gas attacks against people. So obviously that's one of the reasons why only dodgy people would actually have these. But another one as well is you might not believe official government stories when they tell you that 30 different types of nerve agent, including chlorine nerve agents, were used in a gas attack somewhere. You might question the government, and that's a thought crime, so don't be caught doing that. Don't get caught, bin your thought. Obviously you'll be have to go into the Ministry of Truth if we committing thought crimes. It looks like you've had too much to think. So here we go. Hopefully this video has explained to you why you don't need any of these deadly assault gas masks in your house or anywhere. If we're implementing new measures now because of all these dangerous assault masks, if you work in an industry where you may need a respirator for personal protection, that's tough. We're going to get rid of them because obviously you don't need a respirator for working in. So we do think that this may lead to lots of cancer cases, lung diseases, people dying in workplaces, especially workplaces involving chemicals, asbestos removal, things like that. But that's a price we all have to pay for a safer Britain. We need to get these assault masks off our street. They are dangerous, horrible things. And hopefully once we ban the assault masks, we won't see any more filter bludgeoning incidents or anything like that. So as I said, don't be a hater, bin that respirator. We're stronger together, strong and stable. Britain will prevail. I think that's all I have to say really about these deadly assault respirators.